It is Tuesday, March 25th. Yesterday, the executive editor of the Atlantic magazine, Jeffrey Goldberg, published what I think is the most astonishing news story I've ever read in my life. This is the warning. Now, there's a lot of hyperbole in the Trump era. And the truth is, occasionally, maybe, I've been even guilty of it myself. I've used superfluous words to try to denote urgency, to try to highlight something that was unusual, something that was spectacular with regard to its malice or incompetence. I've warned, the name of the platform is The Warning after all, time and time and time again about the dangers that would manifest if Donald Trump's team of incompetence, filled with incompetence that is beyond measurement, was ever given power over life and death matters. It's one thing to appreciate that Donald Trump has the same exact approach in the management of the government of the world's most powerful nation as he did to managing the apprentice contestants. It's astonishing to realize intellectually there's no difference between Little Marco and Omarosa. There's no difference between Pete Hegseth and Little John or Meatloaf. All of these people, whether it's Tulsi Gabbard or Gary Busey, are the same, unfit, non-functioning. When it comes to Trump's cabinet, his national security cabinet, MAR in the email, Marco Rubio. It is interesting when the email trails go up. The person that has the final word is Oberstubenführer Miller himself. He, SM, Stephen Miller, he puts down the final word. We will bomb the Houthis. The Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State, Director of National Intelligence, each one a feathered lightweight, gets in line on the orders of a political staffer who shuts down the debate and de facto orders the bombing. Now, let's step back for a second, because the first thing to note is the juvenile nature of the interaction between Pete Hegseth and MAR, Little Marco, our national puta. All of these people, their bloodlust, their jingoism, the emojis, it is a cartoon come to life. America, yeah, we just bombed the Houthis. The email chains are a moral disgrace. Pete Hegseth, a drunk, clearly somebody who is broken by his service in the Middle East, someone dealing with post-traumatic stress, whose personal life is a mess, who could not function at Fox News, was given the keys to the most powerful military on earth. The Senate Democrats did not vote for him, but Chuck Schumer had no strategy to oppose, to stop, to delay the seating of any of these people into Senate-confirmed positions. Not Tulsi Gabbard, not Pete Hegseth, not Marco Rubio, none of them. And so there they are on a Signal group chat being observed and surveilled by Chinese and Russian intelligence, attacking our allies, planning to extort them, England and France, Germany, disparaging our 80-year-old military alliances, disparaging the countries that buried their sons and daughters when America was attacked on September 11th of 2001. We see on the email trails the deliberative process discussion between imbeciles and lightweights. There are no words. For those of you who don't understand, the White House uses the signals office run by the U.S. military, by the Army, and that's how senior officials are supposed to communicate with one another. Of course, the back and forth about who did what to who is very tedious at this point, but it deserves mentioning that each of these clowns has filled years worth of words in a normal person's life denouncing the Hillary Clinton email server. There's no breach ever that matches this epic instance of carelessness, recklessness, incompetence, and just plain fucking idiocy that beggars description. Each one of these asses is so inattentive to detail that none of them noticed the presence of, well, somebody who wasn't one of the senior most officials in the US government, who happened to be the executive editor for the Atlantic magazine, who, when he started getting the emails, had the exact same reaction I had when I read his story. He didn't believe it was real. And I thought his story was fake. Somebody had concocted an Atlantic headline. But Jeffrey Goldberg knew it wasn't fake when the bombs started falling at the exact instant they were supposed to, according to the text chain that he had been sent, that talked about the type of weapons, that talked about the order of the use of the weapons, that talked about the entire classified sequence of attack. There's no email, not one, that talks about any concern whatsoever by any of the senior leaders of the Trump administration about casualties, about the lives of the young Americans being sent into harm's way. They are nothing but props. They are pieces, toys, lead soldiers on a board for the Fox News rejects to move around. Even after the White House acknowledged it was all real, Pete Hegseth continued to lie about it. This is the sign that hangs over the United States Marine Corps Officer Candidate School entrance. It says Ductos Exemplos, which means lead by example. What a sick joke all of this is. And now what can we look forward to today? Being berated by government spokespeople who work for us, being told to shut up, to sit down, to be quiet, to not be outraged, to do as we're told, that Trump is great, and that this was all an act of genius. All of the sycophants will be out. CNN, no doubt, will turn to Scott Jennings, who will tell us none of it even happened. Donald Trump has assembled a clown car of imbeciles, idiots. I don't use these words to call names, but rather because in English, the language affords us these words to describe the actions of Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth and the National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. These words are overused in everyday life, but they are appropriate in this instant, beyond doubt. One of the greatest, if not the greatest. I am unable to think of a single example in the 20th or 21st century that approaches it. The mix of carelessness, recklessness, indifference to the lives of the young Americans going into combat, the utter immorality of reaction after taking human lives, disgusting. The sick tyrant in the White House threatens Canada, surrounds himself with clowns, has shaken Social Security to its core, and soon the checks will stop. The economy now stands at 50% of recession. Decades of forward progress on cancer research have been shut off. The teams that stand at a hair trigger ready, should there ever be a rogue nuclear weapon, were fired. Everywhere, chaos, damage, and lies. Government of the people, by the people, for the people, snatching citizens off of streets, sending them to El Salvador, and then oopsie doopsie, we had to do it. No due process. We can't do it anymore because of Biden. The sickness, the rot that led this country to electing with 49.9% of the vote, a malignant narcissist, an insurrectionist, a scumbag without peer, a failed businessman, a reality show poser, a lazy and corrupt people who inherited the most powerful, wealthiest nation on earth did this. The American people did this. Democratic Party did this. It is an awful moment. It is a tragic one. What will the consequences be? Or should everyone just get a promotion and a good job and maybe a Presidential Medal of Freedom and maybe a song from the January 6th choir? That would be nice. Trump could lead the choir to praise all of his geniuses. Pete Hegseth, Marco Rubio, Tulsi Gabbard, Mike Waltz, Stephen Miller. Trump's Department of War. It looks like a pack of clowns, though, piled in a Yugo. And we're all in danger because of it. This is The Warning. I'm Steve Schmidt. This is The Warning. I invite you to join this community where I promise to be honest, blunt, and direct about what is happening in this country. America is in crisis. Follow and subscribe to this channel and on Substack. Thank you.